Hollywood told you it was struggling, and that part is true. The industry is not dying across the board, but rather collapsing in some places while growing rapidly in others. Three types of movies are generating significant revenue right now, while everything else is losing money. Studios spent decades building large creative operations, and they have reduced the entire system down to three distinct formulas. These consist of animation for families, video game adaptations for teenagers, and horror films for audiences willing to pay to be scared. Audiences actively chose this reality by voting with their wallets every single weekend until the financial data became impossible to argue against. If this situation sounds concerning, subscribe right now because this channel covers exactly these industry shifts and there is a lot more content coming. The financial data reveals a clear pattern. Inside Out 2 was released in June 2024 and earned $1.69 billion globally, making it the highest grossing film of the year across all genres and studios. Zootopia 2 then arrived in November 2025 and surpassed that record with $1.86 billion worldwide. These two animated PG-rated sequels succeeded because they targeted exhausted parents who are willing to spend $100 on tickets and snacks just to keep their children entertained for 2 hours. Studios decoded this behavior and realized that families will reliably attend opening weekends and pay premium prices. These same families then purchased the associated merchandise. Studio executives watched those box office returns and concluded they should exclusively produce more of this specific content. Superhero films dominated the box office for 15 years before audience enthusiasm finally declined. Studios subsequently needed a new category with an established fan base, and they found their solution in video game adaptations. A Minecraft movie opened in April 2025 featuring unusual computer-generated visuals that many predicted would cause the film to fail. Instead, it generated $960 million worldwide, despite being actively mocked just months prior to release. This success happened because Minecraft has over 170 million active players who are guaranteed to attend. Video game adaptations are profitable because the target demographic is fully formed before production even begins, meaning studios do not have to generate interest from scratch. Following those financial returns, executives began developing pitches for every major gaming property to serve as their next reliable revenue source. Horror currently functions as the most efficient business model in the entertainment industry. While studios publicly praise prestige cinema, their actual focus remains on pure profit margins. A dramatic film requires $50 million to look credible, and an action movie costs at least $150 million to produce. Alternatively, a studio can finance a horror film for under $15 million and earn $100 million at the box office within weeks, creating a 600% return. Franchise properties like Five Nights at Freddy's 2 pushed those returns even higher in late 2025 because dedicated fans attended opening day regardless of critical reviews. Streaming platforms cannot replicate the communal environment of a packed theater where strangers react simultaneously to frightening moments. People gladly pay $18 for that specific group experience instead of waiting to watch at home. Consequently, studios filled their release calendars with inexpensive horror films because they know exactly how cheaply they can manufacture that collective reaction. If this industry analysis is providing value, a quick like helps the recommendation system push this video to more people who need to hear this information. Original dramas, expensive mature action films, and prestige awards movies are all struggling at the box office. A mid-budget drama with high-quality writing used to be a cornerstone of the theatrical experience, but it now receives only a brief 3-week run in limited cinemas just to qualify for awards. These films are then sent to streaming platforms where they struggle to find an audience, making the theatrical release almost entirely ceremonial. Mature action movies face similar obstacles because they require large budgets and their target demographic has increasingly decided that watching at home is perfectly acceptable. These struggling films often feature excellent scripts and strong performances that earn high praise from critics. However, audiences have decided that high quality alone is no longer a sufficient reason to leave the house unless the film feels like a mandatory cultural event. Original dramas rarely achieve that highly discussed status anymore, leading studios to stop investing in them entirely. Streaming platforms accomplish something unexpected by training audiences to patiently patiently wait for home releases. The promise of convenience ultimately resulted in a slow decline for traditional theaters. People used to watch films in cinemas because it was the only available option, but now major releases appear on streaming platforms within 90 days of their premiere. This short window prompted audiences to calculate whether a film was worth $20 immediately or nothing at all 3 months later. Most viewers chose to wait, and studio attempts to fight back by delaying streaming dates failed to break this new behavioral habit. The only releases that overcome this waiting instinct are culturally dominant films that demand immediate viewing to avoid spoilers and participate in social conversations. Established franchises naturally create this urgency, while quieter character studies are relegated to home viewing later in the year. This dynamic creates a harsh split where event movies survive in theaters while everything else goes directly to streaming services. The current financial reality heavily favors sequels, adaptations, and existing franchises over everything else. Original ideas are failing not because audiences reject fresh stories, but because studios actively avoid financial risk. While companies publicly promote creative innovation, their actual production choices demonstrate a strong preference for guaranteed returns. A sequel represents a safe investment before the script is even written, whereas an original drama from a new director is viewed as a financial liability. Studios burning through cash to support their streaming platforms refuse to take chances on unproven mid-budget thrillers or independent passion projects. Instead, executives fund established properties and give horror directors small budgets to execute proven formulas. This behavior illustrates an industry that is steadily becoming narrower and more risk-averse every year. The available space for original storytelling continues to shrink as corporations replace diverse cultural narratives with highly calculated investments focused entirely on existing intellectual property. These three reliable pillars represent the entire theatrical market in 2026. Every other type of film is competing for minimal returns or heading directly to streaming platforms where recommendation systems bury them within days. The entertainment industry did not arrive at this point by accident, as they intentionally reduced available options while claiming they were simply giving audiences what they wanted. Viewers reinforced this strategy by purchasing tickets for these specific genres week after week until the entire studio system adapted to run almost exclusively on three formulas. Changing this trajectory will require creators to produce content so uniquely compelling that audiences willingly abandon the comfort of home viewing. Until that happens, consumers will continue funding this narrow operational model. If this analysis of the entertainment business provides value, subscribe to the channel for more content examining the underlying mechanics of the film industry.